we face a lot of challenges, financial challenges, to a point where we almost bankrupt.
I was very frustrated. Why? I mean, why this person is like that?
All this takes a lot of time for you to go through, to keep changing your mindset as you go mature. So it takes 7-8 years maybe to reach senior, and people just don't realize how long it actually takes.
Do you really have one situation where your colleague say bad things about you?
Oh, for sure, I think so. Throughout the way, there's a lot of mistakes that I made that I learned. I have to reiterate, fix, and rethink.
I'm really a big believer on the core values and leadership. We will help the people who willingly to help themselves.
So at a certain point, we were doing well financially, but the morale was going down. Then everybody's just burnt out.
To me, I think it's very simple. Two things. Hey guys, before we jump into today's episode, me and Jim would like to ask you for a quick favor. It turns out that over half of the people who tune into the Entrepreneur Journal haven't subscribed yet.
And if you've been enjoying the conversation that we're having, the raw stories, the strategies, the lesson from creatives, athletes, founders, and dreamers, the best way to spot us is simple. Just hit that subscribe button.
Well, it's free. It just takes 2 seconds and it generally helps us to keep the show going and growing.
And here's our promise to you. We're going to keep showing up with better guests, deeper stories, and better production quality every single week. Now, thank you for being here. Let's get into the episode. Hey, welcome back to the Entrepreneur's Journal podcast. So we had the first 2 introductions, which was pretty nice because we got to know each other better.
Yeah.
And hopefully the audience knows the host a bit better as well for the show. So today, we are going to be discussing on some real topics because our podcast covers like entrepreneurship, high performers, experts, healthcare, athletes, anyone who is expert in their own industry.
Yep.
And the whole point of the podcast basically is to provide knowledge, as much knowledge as possible to everyone so that we can better ourselves, better our lives, and continue to perform as to the best, basically.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think one important thing is that we want to make this podcast a bit special is to introduce creativity. Because as we speak about in the intro episode, that creativity happens everywhere.
Yep.
It's not just in art, where we come from, but actually it happens across the board, like healthcare, in businesses, because I think the ability to think out of the box and use creative ways to launch your business, to run your business, to do whatever that you're expert in is extremely important, right? So if you're just doing something very typical and following by the books, might not be the wrong way, but I think it's very hard to have a solid breakthrough. But implementing creativity, some things that hasn't been done before, or fine-tuning from the normal practices, I think it just makes a lot of difference.
I think that's where the big truth comes out, right? I mean, come in, right? There's a lot of ways of doing things. I think creativity is the main point on, while we are working on something new, or we are going to start up a business, or we do a filmmaking or healthcare. There's a lot of involving about creativity.
Yeah, exactly. And this is why we wanted to introduce Entrepreneur's Journal podcast to also talk about creativity in everyday life. So the one thing we want to talk about, and we are very passionate about to talk, is leadership.
Yes.
Right. Because I think leadership is one of the core essential in anything. Because I think as human, we are all social creatures. So we move in packs, right?
Yeah.
So as long as we are in a group, we will always have to have a leadership role in the group to keep everyone together. And fortunately, I have been in a position of leadership for like more than 10 years. I think, Steven, you have been running your own studio or your own businesses and formed teams before.
Yes.
Right. So I think we could talk a bit about our experiences and also like our philosophies and, our main core principle as a leader. And basically we can share, we can debate, and hopefully we can also let our audience like learn a thing or two as well.
I hope this podcast we're able to bring values, as we mentioned, especially in terms of leadership, because I believe that there's a lot of people might misunderstand what is leadership and how is leadership is, what is leadership, and especially when I interview people like they are juniors, they do not have any insights about career growth, especially, and what do we need or what do they need in order to become a leader in a company. So I think this podcast will be, this conversation, I think hopefully will bring value to to our audience.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And so Steven, maybe I start with this. What is leadership to you?
To me, I think it's very simple. Two things. Basically, to me, leadership, the first thing is the words that we use. Secondly, is the relationship that how we build in a tribe or in a group. There's only these two things. So words, basically, how do we communicate with the team? The words that we use, is it very harsh? Or how do we debate with the team? What tone are we using? Which is, I believe, is very crucial. Because sometimes not using harsh words that will not lead the team, but it's just basically the vibe and the tone. With these two, to me, these two things is very crucial in the leadership. That's what leadership to me.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that makes sense because I think the tone of words, like I always keep saying that the sincerity, on how you use your words and the portrayal of your principle, your values, your core values to the team.
Yes.
I think it's extremely important. And not to overlap what you're saying, like to me, I think leadership is all about mindset. A lot of people will say that's a skill, but to me, I think it's not a skill that you can just learn off the bat. Like you're learning piano or guitar. Like leadership, there's just so many things that you have to oversee, that you have to, figure out yourself as you go. So I think mindset is actually a mindset more than a skill, because I don't think it's like a title or position that someone can promote you to. And I don't think you can write it on your resume, like what skills that you have, like to portray you as a leader. Because if no one respects you, no one, recognize you as a leader, basically you can't see yourself as a leader, right? So I think it's a mindset that we need to have, and you need to start accumulating all those core values and practices and experience to a point that you are preaching, you are doing what you preach, basically. And once people start, seeing that you are capable, you are someone who can lead, then they will recognize you as a leader, and that's when you actually become a true leader, right? So it's not something that you can just learn and execute on the next day itself. So it's something that you need to build, and that comes from a mindset, basically. And those mindset values, I think we can talk a bit more as well. Yeah.
But to me, I think just now you mentioned about it's not something that you can learn. What does it mean? Like,
yeah, I think
because to me, I think that everything, it can be learned.
Yes.
I agree with you where leadership, part of it is the mindset, where we have to because it really depends on what mindset that we have in order to lead the group. I agree with that. But is it learnable or not? I think it's learnable to me. But I would like you to define, like, what do you mean by not able to learn in that sense?
I think it's not something that you can sit down and teach the person. Like, let's say I want to teach the person guitar. I can sit down and teach him the chords, where to press. And there's like a whole structure, syllables that you can actually teach the person, and they can just learn on the spot, right? But leadership, sometimes some people are just not built to become leadership. Some people don't want to become a leader, right? They don't want to play the role. And some people are meant to become leader because they already have that mindset that, the all the good things that they have to become a leader. So it's not just something that, hey, sit down 1 p.m, I'm going to teach you how to become a leader, and you can just learn. So it all comes a lot. We can talk to the person, tell him about what's the value to become a leader, but it's up to the person to experience it themselves. So the keyword here, I would say, is experience. Yeah, experience, definitely. And it takes like many years to really go through, and you keep to recalibrating your mindset. Like initially you thought this was right, and then when you start leading a team, or somehow you jump into a leadership position, 1 year later you'll feel that, hey, actually what my mindset is 1 year ago actually is not right. There's things that I didn't feel I was doing right. The team was just not vibing with me. So they have to change, and I have to maybe have a bit more empathy, because initially maybe I was too strict with certain things. I was pushing too hard, and now I feel like I need to have more empathy because the team reacts better. When I listen to them, I look at from their perspective, they are more receptible. So these things cannot really be taught or learned. You have to experience it yourself to understand that, oh, okay, this is what it takes, basically. So that's why I said you can't really just teach and learn as other skills.
So you have to experience it, the process.
Exactly.
Basically from the junior level until you senior, until you can lead a team, where you have to experience every single process. Then only you can define.
Yes.
Instead of, like you mentioned, like just sit down and like you talk to him only.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense, right?
Yeah. You have to, you still have to talk to the person, guide them. But like I said, it's not as straightforward as that. But I think both have to coexist, like teaching, guiding. But the experience is the thing that takes a lot of time, and the person have to put it in practice, basically.
So Jin, let me ask you this. So during your period in LemonSky, do you actually have a workshop or training about leadership in the studio that time?
Definitely, there's a lot of time where I will host talks or meetings with the team. Actually, it's very organic because the way we train leaders up, right, it's not like just have talks with them. Like I said, that's why it's not just teaching, sit down and teach. Hey, today I'm going to teach you leadership. But it actually is a lot of small. We try to spread it out across a lot of meetings and preach the things that we believe in every single meeting. So if our core value is like teamwork, collaboration, freedom of speech, like people should speak up, then we should practice it across all the meetings. Like be consistent in your message every single meeting. Initially, people might not be comfortable. People might just hear about it and I still don't want to talk. I still don't want to voice out because maybe someone will shut me down. I'm a junior. But you consistently deliver that message, stick to it. Over and over again, people will start to feel more comfortable because they start to feel safe about voicing out because you are consistent with your message. So you will see people will start collaborating, they'll start talking, and then they also will spread the message to their team as well. They'll use the same principle, the same values and spread to their team. So it's actually across a lot of like meetings, and anytime that we can present that value, we will do it. So it's not just like one single session, we talk about leadership and then forget about it.
I see.
Yeah.
I see.
So that's what we do.
So you practice every day, not only, probably you don't have any workshop or training, but you practice every day through like meetings. When you have team meetings, definitely everyone to sit together and then learn from that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Because I feel that I actually did some workshop before once or twice, but I don't think that's enough.
I see.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
So implementation is one thing that they have to do.
Yeah, because I said leadership comes from the top to bottom, right?
Yep.
So it always comes from one person at the top. You have to practice because leadership is either you have a default leadership or you you have a default culture or you design a culture, right? So I always think default culture is the best. Means that you do what you practice, right? As a leader of the team, of the company, you don't want to implement a new culture or create a new form of leadership. You want it to come from yourself itself and then let it spread naturally. So if your leader is some sort of a very harsh person, very, everything, he's very dictatorship, I don't consider as a leader, but if you're that style of a leader, then that kind of energy will flow down to the team and everybody will feel fear, they won't feel comfortable, and then you want to change it later on to, oh, we are a very friendly, happy company, a happy culture. People don't feel the sincerity because people don't see you as that kind of person, right? They will feel fake, not sincere. So it has to come naturally from you that if you want to create a culture that is happy, friendly, positive, collaborative, day one, you have to do it really. So you have to practice that, preach that, and then make sure it's consistent, and then let it spread naturally, and people will start feeling it, and then people will start following your footsteps, looking at you as a role model as well. But if you start at the wrong foot, it's not to say you can't change it, but you need to take a lot of effort and you have to do it consistently through a long period for people to change their perception and to see you as, okay, this leader has changed now that I think he's going this direction, and I think it's pretty consistent. I think he means it, then people also will start to follow. But always day one, I think the natural progression is the best.
I see.
Yeah. What about you? I mean, for you, you have run a company before. For me, I'm more on in the company itself already, but you have formed your own company, form your own team, and form your own culture, right? So I think you would have some experience in that, right?
Yes, I'm really a big believer on the core values and leadership. This is when we realize when we want to expand. So coming from like 4-person in a company and scale up to nearly 15 and then 20 and then 40 and 50. Way before that, there's this book, 2 books that I would recommend to read, especially the people who, or our audience, who really want to look into leadership. So the first book is Delivering Happiness by Tony Xia. Is related to Zappos company. And the second book, it will be Tribal Leadership. So these 2 books I read and I get inspired, everything from there. And I really love the book. Basically, Tony Xia's book is really personal, which is I love it because it's all about himself and how he built Zappos basically. And I like the concept of the tribal leadership where there is relationship that the teammates form with the leader and how they work together as a team. And they also did like relationship between like, one is like there's this concept called I'm suck and you're a suck. And the third one is I'm great but you are not.
Right.
The fourth one is like I think we are all great, if I remember correctly. Yeah. So I like this concept where I will explain later. So when we start growing the time, I did a restart campaign with everyone, like I mentioned in the previous episode, because we think that core values and culture is very important when we want to scale.
Yeah,
if we don't have this basic core values and belief what we are doing, I think it's very hard to scale. And when people coming in at time, we do not filter the people that we want, to move forward. So during that period of time, I gathered everyone. I think that time it was like 15 people, core members, where I asked them to, hey guys, I think we need to restart our whole company and we need to understand our vision, our company purpose, and we have to define our core value. What core value that we need in this company to move to expand later on. So the core members understand and they believe in these core values and they understand it, and then they will apply to themselves. And when we hire that time, they will look at these core values. They will look at these core values in that person, whether do they have this or not. So if they don't have, I'm sorry, but unfortunately, they cannot be in this company. But if they do have, then congratulations. I mean, that's the person that we are looking for. So we define what is our core value. And after that, it will be basically attitudes, right? Scaling at the time is really, really difficult, and filtering to find the right people. We have interviewed a lot of people and we don't look at skills, but we mainly looking at, of course, we look at skills, but we also look at the attitude. And in order to, that's our first priority to come in. So, and when they come in the time, I do talk to my human resource, my HR department. When they come in the time, we have all this workshop and training. So just now you mentioned that you don't have this workshop and training happening in LemonSky, but it's basically a more approach where everyone meeting and then they learn it from there. So our part, I do workshops and training. Even when these 15 core members at the time, I provide them training and workshop where we talk about how to debate, how to communicate, career growth. Basically, from junior, what do you need? What do you require from junior to mid-junior to senior, like senior, upper, and then lead and become a supervisor? What is the career growth and what do you need to do in order to to be the position that you want to be. And I believe this is very underrated. I'm not too sure about your company. Probably you can share with me later. Where why I say underrated is because when we interview or when we understand from other studios, they do not, as a graduate students, when they go into the industry, they don't know what they need to do in order to be that position. So I get this a lot, where they always ask like, hey Steven, so what is my career roadmap? How do I be there? And what do I need to do? You know, they didn't really ask me direct what I'm saying right now, but I get the gist is where they don't know what they don't know what they want, and they just basically lost.
For sure.
And they just come in and then, oh, what should I do? You know, which is okay because it's normal, because when they come in, they definitely don't know what to do.
It's very overwhelming, right? Come into the working world, suddenly it's such a big ocean. There's so many things you need to look at. And you look up to so many people. You know, everything feels like it's high up in the sky. So like, how am I going to get there? So I understand that feeling.
Yes. So I get this experience where they don't know what to do. So I talk to my leads and my HR and my partners. I think we should do something where, you know, we can directly inform or, you know, present to them in a studio itself, from junior, how do you go to mid-junior, to senior, to lead, and then to supervisor? How many duration that you need? But it's flexible. It really depending on that person itself, how he can perform. So this is just a guideline. It's not a absolute solid, it has to be like that. But it's a flexible and it's just a guideline for them to understand. So like from junior, right? We always ask them like level 1, we call it level 1 junior 1, 2, 3. They always have to basically do 3 things. They have to ask, and then they have to learn, and they have to listen. So these 3 things: they have to ask, they have to learn, and have to listen. Simple, because that is what they need to do. They have to improve their skills, which is very important. Because junior level, you have to improve. Let's say talk about animator. They need to learn about layout, how to lay out this shot, and how to basically do much better posing. Where this is a low level, I would say the basics have to be, the foundation must be strong. So they can provide their opinion, of course. Everyone have their own opinion, definitely. But we would prefer that when you are in junior 1, 2, 3, listen, learn, and keep asking. And when you apply all this already, from the senior will guide the juniors, right? And then slowly they will understand the foundation. When they have this solid foundation, when they move to senior, then they have to learn something else, where you have to go, you learn advanced animation skills. And that is where they have to know how to lead the team, where they know how to communicate with the juniors, where they know how to do some delegation, understand some basic, know how to have the sense of empathy, where they know what situation is, they know this and they know this, then how they balance it. And that is where, if they can enhance it, they will become a lead. We call it leader, and know when to speak and know when to silent. And that's very important, because you can't blab everything out, right? And the followers, or I would say the juniors, they will see a leader as like, oh, what's they talking about? Because sometimes you blab too much. Sometimes it's very off. I
think you have to be respectable. You have to respect your peers when you speak. Also, everyone should have the freedom to speak, but you should have respect to your peers, to your seniors, right?
Yes. So they have to learn all this stuff. And I did another workshop is where talking about just now about tribal leadership, right? I want them to understand in our, like you mentioned just now, every single leader where there's involving your leadership, definitely there's groups, whether you are like 5 to 50 or 20 or
you mentioned
100.
Tribes, right? Yeah.
Yes, right.
Yeah, back to the old days.
Yes, tribes. And definitely they have one leader or few leaders in the tribe. So there's this concept is where they call it I'm suck, basically. Is where they always do harsh things. Basically, I'm not too sure whether you have been experienced where maybe one of your teammates, they always like bully, or I wouldn't say about killing or but it's basically he's harsh, or he or she is
for sure
very harsh.
Yeah, even lead himself have this.
Probably.
Like, there's these different kind of leads, right? Some leads are kinder, more empathy. Some leads are like strict, harsh with their words, So,
yes.
Yeah.
And then the second one is like where this individual, where he willingly he's very good doing his stuff. He's very good in his skill. But he's a selfish type where he don't help any other people. And then this third person is the third concept is where it's like a group of people where they are really strong but they help people. So and then the fourth concept is like basically everyone come together and help each other. So there are these four concepts that the leadership have, because every company have different type of, not to say every company, everyone is different. They have different perspective, or sometimes maybe they have different attitudes. So we have to balance it. Yeah. And of course, there are someone that, like you mentioned, not meant to be a leader, or probably they
don't want to be.
They don't want to be. They don't want to be at all. So they just want to remain on their skill set rather than they can lead someone. And they are comfortable on saying that, which is not wrong.
For sure.
Which is great. Because they're comfortable on what they're doing, which is fine.
Yeah, we can't have everyone become a leader anyway.
Yes,
we still need to have the team player and the leader. So it always need to have balance, right?
Yes. So I bring this concept to them is where, so they will understand and they willingly to help their teammates and form a very strong, solid foundation tribe where they can help each other and grow each other. So we have this core value saying, thrive together, where everyone should help each other, where they have downside, they should talk to them, they should listen to them, what's happening to them, and help them throughout the process and become one of them. Become one of the group is where everyone is helpful and believe what they believe.
Yeah.
So these are the two workshops that I actually did
cool.
when we are trying to expand that time. And we scale about 40, and we basically believe and did all this when people come in, and 3 months. We do basically 3 months every Friday, and sometimes we have additional session where for everyone, for other people as well, where they come in already, but we still remind them about this leadership workshop.
Right.
Yeah. So that's what we do.
Interesting.
This episode of the Entrepreneur Journal is brought to you by Bugworks. If you are looking for top-notch creative solutions, whether it's high-quality graphic production, branding, motion graphics, Bugworks is the team you want on your side. They have worked with amazing brands. If you need creative firepower, hit them up. Check them out in the description below, and thanks to Bugworks for supporting the Entrepreneur Journal. Now, back to the conversation.
So I think that's very interesting, seeing from a perspective from like a founder's point of view, scaling their team, forming their team and scaling the team, things that you implement from day one. And then versus from me, who has been in the company for 18 years. So we went through like different phases. I basically seen it all from the whole company's perspective, from artists, junior artists, all the way to senior artists, to management, and even to the operation of the company. So we didn't have the luxury to start where we wanted to, the way we wanted to, right? Because the whole process was quite organic. As we grow, we make mistakes, and then we fixed it. So there's definitely a lot of challenge, because back then I think we are quite the pioneer in the industry as well.
Definitely.
In Malaysia, right? So we don't have like seniors or any pioneers to look up to learn from them. So we just bang the wall all the time. So the things that we go through, I think there's a few levels. Maybe I speak from the company, the top management level, and all the way down to how I practice.
Yeah, please share, Jin.
Yeah, so like I said, I didn't really do workshop, but there's also other stuff that I did, which I think I should share as well. So I think when we were growing the team organically, growing the business organically, we faced a lot of challenges, financial challenges, to a point where we almost bankrupt, closed down. We had to close shop, right? So there was a point where my co-founders, they were struggling with financially because things weren't just going great for the economy. Especially we have other partners in UK as well, which they are getting the jobs and everything.
Oh, okay.
So that time the financial crisis just killed off the whole industry, and if they felt that I think it's not going to work, we need to fire everyone, lay off everyone, and then keep the core team. And then when the industry gets better, then we hire back again. But my ex-bosses, they didn't agree to do that. So they actually took over the company and then rebranded to LemonSky and then kept everyone. So that's where I was there as well. That's why we were struggling at the time. I mentioned before, we don't have increment for years.
Yep.
We were at the basic junior salary for many years, and then we don't have bonus for many years, So we just be patient and hopefully things get better because we see the vision of my bosses as well. But across the whole journey, when we were building to a point where it becomes stable, I think we neglected a lot on the leadership side on how we treat the people. It's not we treat the people bad. It's just that we didn't really take our time to form the culture that we want. Excuse me, because we want to focus on building back the company, making sure we have project, good portfolio, good reputation. And it's very hard to do both at the same time, especially when you don't have a mentor.
I understand.
Right. So there were times where the budget was tight, we need to squeeze the schedule a little bit, or we need to push the quality as high as possible. And then we neglected on the artist's working hours, right? So I myself sometimes work 18 hours a week, 18 hours a day for 1 month, to score the stuff. So that goes on throughout a lot of period. So there's certain point we were doing well financially, but the morale was going down because everybody's just burnt out.
Yep.
And then when the morale goes down, when we realize it, then we try to fix it. Then we try to, okay, loosen up a bit. And when we loosen up a bit, financially going down because we were too loose, then morale going up because people were more relaxed.
But would it be too late by the time, because like you are focusing on, of course, financial cash flow is important. As a founder, I understand that. But would it be too late for a morale, when you're so deep down already?
Yes, exactly. That's why it's very challenging. That's why for years, we would try to fix the company's culture, the morale of the people. It wasn't really successful. We tried so many ways to bring back the morale or create back a culture. So when the company financially was more stable, we tried to come up with a lot of benefits to improve the work culture of the company, like employee of the month. Every month there's a prize for Xbox, PS5, even holiday trips, air tickets and stuff. Like everybody can work. So at first it was okay, and then after that people just got bored of it. And annual dinners, company trips, we try to make it as luxury as possible. Our annual dinners was amazing. We're always like one of the best event company. I feel I'm very proud of those. But somehow you just don't feel the enthusiasm of the people. Yeah, they're having fun, but when it comes to LemonSky, people just don't feel that enthusiasm. Like I'm part of LemonSky.
What's the problem?
Yeah, we try to figure out that for a long time.
I see.
And I feel personally, I start to notice this, that I think we are not sincere enough. That's why I always focus on sincerity. People just don't feel sincere. Like I said, there's this cycle of financially doing well, morale going down. And then morale down, you fix it, push it back up a bit. And then financially not doing well, we try to push. So this cycle keep repeating and repeating. And people just don't feel sincere. It's like, when things go well, you treat me well. When things go bad, then you squeeze me, right? Although I have to admit, we don't squeeze people as a lot of other industry, even like commercial and all, they work even more hard overtime, hardcore than us, right? But because we are one of the biggest, so every single move that we make creates a ripple effect across the industry, right? So we get it the most. But end of the day, I feel that it comes from sincerity, and it has to come from the top. For me, I'm in the company for so long, I was also at the top management, but I need to get my bosses on board as well. right? Because sometimes they are great bosses, but sometimes we just take things for granted. We oversee things because we are too focused on the business, right? So there's one time after a long time, which should have done it earlier. I spoke to them because I was burnout as well. So they were checking on me. So I spoke to them that I don't know how long I can last. I'm even thinking about quitting. Then they will open up to hear my reasons. So I told them some of the reasons, and I told them that I think the company culture and everything needs to come from you guys, right? How you deliver your message, like the tone of your voice, like you say in the beginning, right? Your message, how you speak to people. I think it needs to be consistent. You cannot be, when things are going well, you treat everyone well, everything is doing well, But when financially, down a bit, and then everybody is a bit too lenient, then your tone change, and then you try to push people harder just to get back. So I think if you want to treat people well, if that's what you want to do, then treat people well all the way, right? Even in bad times or good times. And when there are good times, you treat people well. When bad times, you support them, give them the support instead of asking them, hey, why are we like this? Why is everybody so lenient? You need to also give the support and make sure your tone is consistent, and you need to do it consistently, basically. And that's what we start to do. And then my bosses start actually listen. One thing good about them is they're willing to listen and change. So they start to change the tone of the way they speak to people. The tone become a lot more like kinder, pleasant. They really look from the artist's perspective. That's where things start to change. We do it consistently enough for like a year or two, then people start to feel like, hey, they start to feel that the sincerity coming from the upper management is, we want to help them. They are sincere about helping us, and in return, they will actually go the extra mile for you, right? So I've always believed we need to create a safe environment for the people. If they are feeling safe, they're feeling heard, they feel that they are being respected, being trusted. Instead of being more lenient, they actually work even harder for you. They will go the extra mile for you, right? Because I had a lot of experience going to visiting clients' studio in overseas. So I'm fortunate enough to travel to a lot of countries to go to a lot of studios. So because we work with all the AAA big studios, the biggest studio in the world, like DreamWorks, Disney, Nickelodeon, Microsoft, Blizzard, and also I had the opportunity to visit all the studios and meet a lot of amazing people there. Truly amazing. Learn a lot from them, and really open up my eyes to how to see the world. So going to the US, all these studios really changed the way I see how they run teams. Because, US culture, they are more chill. They are very professional, but they're very chill. At the same time, they get the work done. So when I visit their studio, I see they are very chill. They don't really care about their working hours. Sometimes during working hours, I still see them chilling outside on the bench. But they're actually discussing things. They're talking, but it's very chill. You feel like, hey, everybody is so chill. But they really get things done. When someone comes to you with a problem and say, hey, I'm facing this issue about this bug. Instead of the other person, I also not sure. They were very enthusiastic. They say, oh, really? Let me just hand it over to me. I'll try it. After lunch, I'll just plug in some codes and see and get it back to you, and maybe you'll fix it. So very collaborative. They never say no to each other. They always like trying to figure out.
They won't basically say that, oh, my scope is just basically this.
Exactly.
You just work on your own, I work on my part.
Yeah, exactly. They never neglect. They're always helping, and they really want to get things done, basically. And that really amazed me. And nobody tells them to do so. They willingly do it themselves. Self-initiative.
Which is very good.
Yeah, and that is the kind of vibe that I want to bring back to the studio. So I'll be discussing my ex-boss. We're always having this debate. Can we do this? Can we be that lenient? And we always have that fear, is we become too lenient, people will abuse it, right? So people will like abuse it, become lazy, and things go. Yeah. So we have this debate.
Probably they will be calculative.
Yeah, exactly. That's where I say the cycle keeps coming in, right? So when we squeeze the people become less morale. So in terms of squeeze, I mean like deadlines, maybe working hours, like coming in late, going up early, those kinds of things. Throughout the years, we try to find a way to find a balance that people don't abuse the flexibility, the freedom, but also not to be too strict. So sometimes we went too strict about their early going out, or their schedule and stuff. So we spend years trying to find a balance, how to become not too strict. So when too strict, people feel that, hey, you don't trust me. Too lenient, people abuse it. to a point until the pandemic, where everybody, no choice, working from home. It's very hard to track their working hours, right? So we were quite concerned in the beginning, but then we decided to let go and trust the people, because we don't have like clock in, clock out anymore. We don't have that kind of system.
Yes.
So we just let people, you wake up what time you want, you jump in and work. As long as there's meeting, you'll be there. Submission day, you are there to submit. You report back. We give you the freedom. And then in return, once people start getting into the flow, actually people are more happy. People become more efficient actually. They work even longer hours. And that really gives us...
Will they complain?
Some, of course, you feel depressed because everybody's at home, can't go out, right? I also feel depressed at times, right?
Of course.
So, and then you don't have human interaction. It's all calls. Some people like it, but a lot of people start to feel depressed after a year or two. But the point is, we start to see people actually more dedicated, working even longer hours, willingly. We didn't ask them to, because they had that freedom. They can do their laundries and then go back to work and then take their dog out for a walk, come back, they had that freedom, and then they feel that, hey, my time become flexible. I don't mind working longer hours.
But deliverables is...
Yeah,
right.
deliverable is still there.
Okay.
Still there. Some even better, sometimes. Become even better.
I see.
Despite all the hassles to submit file, you have to remote in PC to go through the server, right? Everything I think is pretty good. And then we continue on after pandemic, coming back to office. We just continue on letting the people have that kind of freedom, like hybrid working. We don't really track their lunchtime that long. You want to go celebrate birthday, celebrate. You want to leave early that day, you just, talk to your lead and then leave. As long as your work is done. The amount of work assigned to you and that day, 8 hours of work, you get it done, it's fine. You get it done in 7 hours, it's your reward, it's your right, if you want to relax that 1-2 hours, right? So I think in return, having that trust placed on them, the respect, treating them like adults, the whole vibe of the company changed. Like everybody just become motivated, become energetic, positive, collaborative. Everybody just become happier, and they are willing to put in extra effort just to make things look better, looks good. They are so professional and cares about the company's reputation, the name, And I start to give them a lot of flexibility, even how they communicate with clients and stuff like that. So the whole vibe started to change. And that was one of the best moments we have, And I think we don't even need to track anyone's working hours. Of course, we still need to have system in place, but end of the day, we are way more lenient than what we were 5 years ago. So that was like the whole history, how we, progress to a culture that everybody is happy. But for me personally, the things that I do in my own leadership, because I was growing a team of 50 people all the way to 200 at the peak.
Yes.
Yeah, that was quite a growth, And then throughout the way, there's a lot of mistake that I made that I learned. I have to reiterate, fix, and rethink again my mindset, whether it's the right thing to do. In terms like hiring, like you mentioned, I think it's very important to hire the right person who has the right mindset, right values. And that took me a while to read the person properly before I actually bring them in. So that was one thing. And then when the teams got bigger, I couldn't handle everyone on myself. I cannot oversee everyone on myself compared to when I was 50 people. So I have to delegate to my core members. I have a group of council members. So it's consists of 4 or 5 people who directly I work with, and they will have their own teams of people who they need to work directly with, and then it slowly spreads down. So it's like a pyramid structure basically.
So are they different departments where modeling, animator, or they have a specific?
It's more like project based. We work more on a project basis.
So they are also one project, one leader.
Yeah, one project, one leader, and then they have project manager who handles project, and then we have production manager who handles production, the whole department, and then we have supervisor more on the technical side. So I have a mixture of manager and supervisor under my council.
I see.
So every week I meet them once or twice just to go through any issues that they have. And then they report back to me. And then I have anything, I report back to them as well, update them as well. So that frees up a lot of my time to think, to strategize, because we can't be busy all the time, right? We need to have time to think as well. Because a lot of people have this perception as a leader, as a top management, you need to be the busiest person.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when you are busy, every single thing you want to have your hands on, there's no time to think. And then that's where things start to crumble, and then you're just stuck in the cycle. So my ex-boss told me before that, you don't think we are free, we need to have time to think, right? It's not because we are free, right? I think that makes sense. Why do I want to block myself out of all the tasks, and then there's no time for me to think and improve the company, improve the team, right? So that's where things get a lot better, when I delegate most of my work, and
trust them on the work as well.
Trust them. That's something that I really practice a lot, is the transparency and the trust. I really learned to let go and trust them, and in return the results are much better. So what I did, like talking back on the trust and transparency, is what I did was two things. One is I have a town hall, my own personal town hall for my own division, because I was the head of animation division, and then there's a head of games division. Yeah. So games was handled by another person, they have their own way, and then animation is me, so I have my own way as well. So the way I do it, I have a mini town hall for my division, and I couldn't talk to 200 people, so I have two sessions. One is town hall for the leads, the seniors, people who are leading teams, and the management team. So I try to share as much information as possible. Every month I gather the information, and then I present it to them as transparent as I can, so that they're up to date on what's going on in the company, all the projects that they are not involved in, any interesting news that I will share to them. So they feel that they have ownership of information. They feel that they have authority.
Interesting, yes.
Yeah. Then they are entrusted with it. So then they can spread it down to their team.
Yes.
So it makes them feel a bit, it feels like we trust them, and then you're not in charge of this piece of information.
Yeah.
Use it to how you want.
Yep.
Yeah. Then they feel that they have the authority. They
feel involved.
They feel involved, exactly. Yeah. They feel that they have ownership in this. And then that's one thing. So I do it on monthly or bi-monthly, or 2 months once, depending on how much information I have to update. So that's one thing. And then the second thing is a bit crazy, which I spend 1 to 2 days a week to meet 5 to 6 people for a whole year, so I can meet 200 people individually in 1 year. So I did that for like 2 to 3 years. So because I feel that the more I go up, the more I delegate, the less connected I feel with the people. I used to be very proud of, I get my hands on in everything. I'm directly involved. People, I'm in the spotlight. People look up to me, respect me because I'm hands on, right? Because, like I said, it's a very tribal thing. Once you are directly involved, people will have more. But once you step out, become more on them, you're overseeing things, then you're stepping up from the spotlight a bit. But that's another point. But I feel less connected with people. I feel that, there's a lot of things I start to oversee, or I start to lose connection with the people. So I wanted to reconnect back with them. So I took the initiative to meet people, every single one of them, even juniors or new joins. At least give them 1 hour to half an hour to talk.
But do you have a situation where they felt neglected somehow?
For sure. That is why I do this. Because no matter how much I delegate, somehow some people will feel neglected, and there's feedback and say, the top management don't care about me, my voice never been heard, right? So I will take this chance to, I'll be crazy a bit, spend some time to meet.
So every single one.
And some people really appreciate it, because they say, wow, shit, I never thought I get to talk to top management people. I'm just 2 months in the company, right? So they feel appreciated, and that changed their perception a lot. So in the meeting, I do 2 things. One is to listen to them first. Ask them how they're doing, what their struggles are, and then just listen. Some people are willing to share. Some people, maybe they are more shy, then I have to talk. But the first 15 minutes, half an hour, I let them talk. Hear their point of view, hear their goals, hear their vision, hear their struggles and everything. And then second point is I want to drive agenda. So every year I have new agenda. So 1 year is I want to talk more about their career growth, how they can help the company grow, what can they do to help the company grow, and also for their career as well. So I talk to them about their career roadmap, what they should do. Like you said, a lot of people come in, they don't know what they want, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so there's a good chance to tell them about how our company structure is, how the career growth is, see what you need to do as a junior, what you need to do to get the intermediate, senior lead, and so on and so forth. How long will it take roughly, a lot of them feel appreciative. I said, oh, I never know this information. Now I know what to work on really. So 1 year was that. And then the second year, I have a new message to deliver, which is their own personal growth. So instead of career, now it's their own personal growth because the industry wasn't going so well. So I was a bit concerned that about companies laying off, people are losing job. So I want to advise them a bit on what you should do to avoid getting irrelevant, replaced by AI, or what you should do if you lose your job. Right? You need to start thinking about this thing, like your personal finance. What skills do you have if you lose your job? Is there anything else you can do if you can't find a job? So people need to start thinking about these things, right? So I talked to them about this. So spend another year just talking to them about this. So I think that's the way I connect with people and at least let people feel that they are not being forgotten. Yeah. So I think that went really well, and it's time worth spending. Yeah, it takes a lot of effort, but it's a time worth spending.
I see. Interesting. But in that sense, right, Jin, do you really have one situation where your colleague say bad things about you?
Oh, for sure. I think so.
You definitely heard from someone or not directly from them, right?
Yeah. I haven't really hear like...
Do you have an example? Do you have it? Or what do you hear from them? Like, and how do you take it? Like, is it your mistake or, I believe the audience, maybe someone who is listening probably from, your department, they will say like, well, Jin, you're talking so perfectly, but definitely I think there's maybe a mistake you might done before and you didn't even notice it. And, so what is it?
Yeah, mistake for sure. I've done a lot and I hear people. I go back a bit. One of my weaknesses is I'm a people pleaser. It might be a weakness or might be a good thing as well, but I'm more a people pleaser kind of person. I like everybody happy. I like people likes me back, that kind of stuff. So I try to do things that try to please everyone. But that was exhausting to a point. I realized that. And I try to, as a lead, I know that I cannot make everyone happy. Yeah, so I need to rethink my mindset, force myself to change this kind of mindset.
Yep.
But not to say that ignore everyone, right? I have to find a balance.
Yes.
Balance is always the always the important thing. So as the team grows bigger, I need to learn to ignore the noise, ignore what people say about me, and not be too emotional about when I hear certain bad things. But fortunately, I haven't really hear like severe feedback like, oh, this is Honjin, cannot lie, he's bullshitting, I never really hear that.
Okay.
The positive mostly are very, very positive. The feedbacks are mostly very positive. There's a lot of time I hear that, I hear a lot of sincere feedback about me that, I'm a great leader, they respect me, one of the best head of department, blah, 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 I'm truly happy to hear that. So I haven't really gotten very harsh feedback. Maybe there is some hidden here and there, you can't please everyone. But of course, throughout the years, there's mistakes that I've done that also spark certain issues. Like maybe I left someone out in the credit.
Okay.
I didn't thank someone in the credit, right?
Okay.
And then went to Facebook saying that, oh, how can you ignore me, blah, blah, blah. And then actually it's my fault because I left that person out.
I see.
So once I found out, of course, it disturbed me for a while and I have to put out my ego aside, text the person, apologize and say, I'm so sorry, what can I do, right? So maybe I can insert your credit somewhere else, not in the main one, but somewhere else. But what has been done. I'm truly sorry. So just put myself down and, just say you're sorry and ask what else can I do, and next time I assure you it won't happen again. Right? So this kind of small mistake that I received before, or maybe I said something untasteful, maybe something bad, or something that the person took offense. When I thought it's okay, but when I say that person took offense, and then I hear the feedback say, "Oh, just now you mentioned that sentence hurt this person." So when I hear that, I will directly call the person in and apologize. Depending some people don't want confrontation, then okay, next slide. I don't say that again. But sometimes I will also personally invite the person in, talk to him or her, and apologize.
But if they do not want confrontation, will that issue be resolved, or is this basically just like that? Just like
that, but we have to remind ourselves or remind the people that make sure we don't this don't happen again.
I see.
Yeah. Because there are times where things never get resolved. But we just remind ourselves, okay, this person actually reacted to this kind of statement. So we have to reflect and see, is it really an issue? Did we really see something wrong, or is that person just misunderstand? So if it's something that we felt that we shouldn't have said things like that, then we just remind everybody in the room, my counsel and all that. Next time, just be more sensitive about this kind of statement.
I do agree. Like leadership, sometimes it's just not everyone will like what you are doing. You cannot please everyone. Sometimes we just have to have a little bit of ego,
for sure,
a little bit of persistence on something, where because you're leading a team and you can't basically please every single one. Definitely there are some they don't like your style maybe, but probably majority is, but this is how it works, right? I mean, if this is right, then this is right. But of course we have to balance it, like you mentioned. It's not every time that you are right. Leadership is just meaning that you are right all the time. We have to listen to our colleagues and see how to improve it from there, right? For myself, I made a lot of mistakes as well, I believe.
Yeah, I want to hear from the question you asked me just now. Have you gotten that before?
I think I'm a person where if I get very angry, then I'll be outburst. If I remember correctly, I think there are two colleagues that unfortunately I outburst. It's just because I entrust them a lot, where I felt that they should. I was expecting them to understand already, like the core values and how we talk, or the tone and stuff like that. I expect them to know, or when they are in that position, they should understand. Maybe I was expecting too much. So unfortunately I was outburst to the one of the colleagues.
Okay.
Unfortunately. But at the end, of course, I apologize. I'm not too sure whether we really did resolve it. But I did apologize after that, and I tell why I'm like that during that that situation. And another colleague is basically client's project, where I also entrust him on that project. But the client feedback, it doesn't meet expectation. And same thing again, I was expecting that he understand and do much more self-initiative rather than I keep on telling what to do. And it's like a senior level, and why this thing happened? Is it because that we didn't do enough, or we didn't provide this information enough, or basically he's like that? But my understanding that probably he has like a family thing happening, which I totally understand. But sometimes we have to put aside and work comes in. We have to really work on it. But I definitely understand about the families thing. I definitely understand. I empathy that. But sometimes we have to balance it.
Yeah.
Like we say, we have to balance it, right? So I do have few mistakes that I did that I'm very, if I'm too over, then I will really outburst. And you don't want to see me that kind of side as well. My partner see it before. I hope it won't happen,
Yeah, I hope I don't see it.
I hope as well. But I'm a very reasonable person. I am very open for discussion always. I will provide my point of view if I need, if needed, But if not, then I will just silent. Most of the time, they will approach me to discuss on something. I will hear them out, and basically I will let them do whatever that they have to do. I believe most of my colleagues, I think they are very comfortable to talk to me, because basically I kind of understand where they, I know different people have different perspective or different situation where they bring up from. So, to be honest, I haven't heard before people talk things behind my back.
Okay.
If I remember correctly. But if it is, I mean, I'm sorry, but maybe I forget or, but if I remember, maybe I did treat someone also differently. And to be honest, maybe it's very obvious sometimes because, like I said, I was expecting the person too much to do, suppose what he need to do. And as a leader, you know what to do as a leader, right? I was expecting too much. Maybe the trust is too much. I don't know. So I was very frustrated. Why? I mean, why this person is like that?
Yeah, I understand that.
So yeah, but I do have mistakes that all along while I'm still learning. All the while I'm learning. That's why I read books. I try to understand how to become a leader. There are a few idols that I really admire, especially like Steve Jobs. I know Steve Jobs is a very harsh person.
Yeah.
And it's very hard to work with, telling you harsh things. And I don't know whether he called people idiots or not, but as we saw his movie, he's all kind of harsh person, innovative. Simon Sinek, Tony Xia, I really admire all these people how they become a leader and bringing the company to another next level. Because I believe starting your own company, cash flow definitely is important as a start, building a business. But on top of that, I believe leadership is another plus point, because either way, business is about people as well. Without your people, it wouldn't form this business. You can do it alone, definitely. There are also solopreneur, I don't know how they run things. I don't know. Because for me, my style, I definitely need a partner. And I need a team to, help that they have the ownership of this company. And I believe people will build business. Yeah. Of course, you need cash flow as well. But I believe if we build a foundation of these people, I think slowly it will come, especially the cash flow.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think people is the most important part in any business or even sports or anything, right? You can't do anything without having a great team. You can't achieve anything without a great team. And a great team comes from how your people react, how your people perform, right? And to get them to perform to the best, like I said, you need to treat them with respect, with trust. Of course, you need to find great people first.
Yeah,
or you need to train them, take years to train them.
Take years to train them, yeah.
But a lot of CEOs, right, they were saying, what is the most important thing? Oh, my customers. This is something I heard from Simon Sinek, makes a lot of sense. Right? Oh, my customers are the most important. But how often you hear a CEO talk to the customer? Your most important thing is the people. Yeah. Your people is the one that handle the customer, right? So you need to make sure your people perform well. And then in return, the customer will be happy. Yeah. Because the people, right? Because it's very easy when you see a business, when you walk into a shop or you walk into a hotel or whatever, I can bet you if the attitude of the staff is all very happy, positive, energetic, great service, I can bet you the management, the CEO or the boss whoever have great leadership. Yeah. If you walk into a shop has bad service, everybody unhappy, I can bet you that as a very bad boss, bad leader or something, right? Yeah. So it's all reflecting down. Your people is the one that reflect the top management, the leadership.
Jin, have you encountered, right? I mean, this situation where you heard from your colleague that, hey, this person talk to me is like, for example, hey, don't need to work so late lah. Why you need to work so late? We just paid for until 7 only what?
Yeah.
Then just done already, then ciao lah. Do you have this?
Oh, for sure.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, everybody is different, right? Okay. Everybody, that's why I say not everybody is meant to be a leader. Not everybody is meant to be high performers, right? It's just the way it is. Not to say you can't be, but not everybody wants to be or meant to be. So across the board, you will have A player, A plus player, you have B player. You also will have some C player, which unfortunately sometimes you need to let them go if no matter how you help them, they can't perform. They have to let them go. So there are definitely people who just want work-life balance, nothing more, nothing less. I do my job. That's it. Nothing wrong with that lah. If you're happy not going anywhere, you're happy staying at that level, you're happy to get paid as long as you get your job done. We need some people like that as well, right? So that's totally fine. But my point is, I spread my message to as much people as possible. Even if I spread to 100 people, even if there's 10 people who can get my message and that help them perform to the next level, at least I help them people, right? And then the other 50, maybe yes or no, they're on the fence. And then maybe another 20, 30 people who don't really listen.
But how do you deal with these people? Like, because to me, if there's this one person happen in the company,
yeah,
I felt it's very toxic. It's where, they will spread to other colleagues, and I think they were demotivated and probably get influenced.
For sure.
Right. So it happens when I was it was very small. It was 10 people at the time. I get these experiences where unfortunately we have to hear it from the colleagues where, hey, this senior that you hire, like suddenly like it tells us like, hey, you just paid to work some like this amount, and you are paid, to work this hour. Why do you have to stay back? Just go back home lah. You guys just go back home, and have a rest tomorrow, come back again, which is not wrong.
Yeah.
It's correct. But like I said, communication and the words that you use is very important. So somehow this sentence, to the team, it was very demotivated. And why do we have this concept? And to be honest, I'm very honest, we don't like say you guys have to, be here. And those type is where they willingly to stay back because they want to finish they have this accountability and responsibility to finish that task. And unfortunately, to me and how we deal with it, to resolve this, unfortunately, we have to let the person go.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Because I think it keeps on, because it not happened one time, a few times already, like 3 times. And the senior was in the probation phase. And we were trying to, okay, I think it's enough. We have to get rid of this person. I'm sorry to say, but like the senior have to go. So at the end of the day, actually, we let the senior go lah. And unfortunately, we have to, because it will affect the team and affect the clients as well. So we have to let it go.
Yeah.
But
I think it's normal lah. I think once you work with a bunch of people, there's tend to be some people who are, sad to say, troublemakers, right? And most importantly, have you put in the effort to help the person? If yes, multiple times, then I think you have to let that person go. Because in the end, I think you can't look at a team, a company in the terms of family. You have to look in terms of team.
Yeah.
Right. So in family, you wouldn't let someone go, even though they are lazy or what, right? But in the team, you want to keep the people who are the best so that we can win every time. So there's no choice. If certain people just not up to that standard, no matter how much you help, you need to let the person go to somewhere else. And it's not a bad thing. There's a lot of times I notice that some people left, they go to somewhere else, they learn, they actually become better. And some even come back to LemonSky a different person, come back to the company a totally different person. Okay. It happens many times before, because one case is one reason is when they come out from college, they come to the company LemonSky, they're really working on the best things, best project, and quality is so high.
Yep.
And when they come out from college, it's student level, right? So they just can't cope with the stress. And then at the same time, we give the best benefits, best time, best schedule, everything is the best. But because their level is still far, they need a lot of time to catch up. They struggle. Then they have to work late. And then they question, why am I working late? The company is trying to squeeze me. But in fact, there's other people who finish their work on time even earlier and leave, right? Then you have the question, is it me? Or is it I'm not capable? Is it the company? So some people who can't perform, we try to help them. Eventually, we have to give them warning, and guide them, trial period to improve, and then they didn't hit it, they leave unhappily sometimes. But they leave somewhere, they go to another company who is even tighter, benefit maybe not so good. They will start to feel like, oh, actually this is harder. LemonSky is actually, what my previous job is actually pretty good really, right? So they haven't really gone through the real hardship before. Then they come back with a changed mindset. Then they're a totally different person. And I feel that is even a better thing. Yeah. So just to cut short, I think most importantly, we need to help them first to a point where we don't know what to do anymore. We give all the advice that we can. We give all the support that we can. They still can't, and we need to cut it. Sometimes we take too long to cut as well. Cut the person. Then it spreads to the other team members and everybody got affected. Yeah, but just touch a bit more on the working hours. I think that is a very sensitive topic because we used to not care too much about working hours. We want to push the quality as high as possible and people struggle. And then later on, we come back to a phase where we want work-life balance for the people. Those people who wants to strive more, they do more, but minimum 8 hours of work.
Yeah.
We evaluate with the leads, everyone, that this is appropriate, and then you finish your work, you can leave. But some people who wants to do extra, they want to perform better, they want to help teammates, then those are the A players. Then those have the chance to be promoted, go further in the career. And those people, we know there's a lot of potential. And those people, we want to put a lot of effort to keep them, to make sure that they continue to grow. And of course, some people will see that as bias. You are biased against that person, but it's not bias. We are attracted to capable people.
Of course.
Like really amazing team player, right?
And they stand out.
Yeah, they stand out. So we need to put our priority on different people as well, according to their skill set. And we constantly just tell people, working hours is set already. The task is set. We don't give you 2 people's task is 1 day, right? So that is as fair. Whatever next is your performance, really, your capability. And then, we also want to try to push them. Our principle is very easy. You want to get promoted to the next level, you need to be doing things for the next level. So if you just, like you said, I get paid this much, I do this much now, no problem, but you'll be stuck there.
Yeah.
But you don't question why you can't move to the next level, because you need to prove yourself that you're ready for the next level by doing it consistently in your level currently.
Yeah.
Then people will start to notice you and want to promote you to the next level. So you can't just stay at one place for a long time. So it's a very fair game.
Yes. And that is where the career growth come in, where we plan. That's why you in senior level, you need to have this requirement, this skills that we are looking at.
Yeah.
If you want to stay at this level, so it be. Right.
Yeah. And also the time you spend at that level. A lot of people say, 1 year I want to move to this level, or 3 years I want to become a lead. I will still say it all comes back to time. You also need to let time pass for you to go through the whole experience, right? You can't just absorb everything in 1 year, expect to be a senior, you need to have a lot of experience, not just on the skills. You need to have experience in your soft skill, people management skill, and everything. And all this takes a lot of time for you to go through, to keep changing your mindset as you go mature. So it takes 7-8 years maybe to reach senior, and people just don't realize that how long it actually takes.
Yeah, right? And I believe we are just attracted to, not to say attract, but we will help the people who willingly to help themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. Okay. So we can actually go on for hours on leadership.
Jin,
I think we need to have a second episode on this next time, talking about leadership.
But Jin, last question. What if a person who want to become a leader? In summary, what does it take?
Yeah, I will ask you the same as well, but I will say first. Sure. There's just so many things, but to me again, it's all about caring. You put others first before yourself, I would say. You need to make sure that you are someone who are willing not to take credit. You're willing to listen to people, understand people's feeling, and of course, you need to have vision and goal. Don't get me wrong, that's the core thing.
Yes,
as a leader, you always need, but before you want to drive someone to on board with your visions and goal, you need to earn your respect first. Right. So doing that, I think you need to be someone who has a lot of empathy. You need to be someone who is willing, selfless, put people first before you. You need to be sincere about all your actions, because people can feel and smell your actions, right? Whether you're meaning what you say. And of course, you need to be brave as well. I would say you need to have the guts, the balls as well to take responsibility when things go wrong. You need to make tough decision that might not make everyone happy, but it's the right thing to do. So I think these are the things, the core values that you need to have to be a leadership. And at the end of the day, it's up to you whether do you want to take up the role of a leadership. If you don't want to be, then it's very hard for you to adopt all this mindset. But if you want, then you need to adopt this mindset consistently for a period of time until people start noticing, start gaining attention and recognition from people. Then that's where things will start to transition to a real leadership role.
To me, I mean, basically in summary, like what you have mentioned, right? In this, I would say people skill. I think in order to become a leader, you need not only in technical skill. Technical skill is a foundation where you have to understand the process.
Skills you can learn, like I said.
Yeah, correct. But I think people skill, in order to become a leader, to lead a team or your follower, you need people skill. Like you know how to communicate, where you need to exactly know what to say and when not to say things, where you're able to inspire and make people keep on following you as
inspire,
a leader.
Yeah, good word.
Yeah. So I think for me as a leader, it should be like this. Yeah. So
yeah, for sure. There's so many things we can talk about.
So many things that we can share about leadership.
Yeah.
I think this episode, I think that's all for today.
Yeah.
So audience, if you really like our talk today and our podcast today, feel free to give us a feedback in our comments below, and please subscribe us if you feel that brings you value for this podcast and help you through this process of career growth.
But we just want to warm this podcast up by us just talking about our experience, our point of view of things, because I think our experience and career definitely there's a lot of values and there's a lot of experience that we can definitely share that can help you guys as well. Yeah. There you have it.
Yeah. All right, Jin. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Steven. And I'll see you in the next one.
Yes.
Cheers.